Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's equal parts fascinating and tragic. Inventors who, against all odds, met their end because of their very own creations. We often celebrate the brilliant minds who change the world for the better, but sometimes an invention can go horribly wrong, leading to unforeseen consequences, even for its creator. So buckle up, because we're going to explore 8 such stories, each a poignant reminder of the fine line between genius and danger. First up, we have Franz Reichelt, an Austrian-Hungarian tailor from the early 20th century. Franz was utterly obsessed with creating a parachute suit that could save aviators, a noble goal in the nascent days of flight. He'd test his designs on dummies, dropping them from his 5th-floor apartment window. Early tests showed promise, but as he refined the suit, it actually got worse. Undeterred, Franz convinced himself the problem wasn't the suit, but the height. He needed more altitude. He managed to secure permission from the Paris police to test his invention from the Eiffel Tower's first platform. However, when he showed up and declared he'd be the one wearing the suit, not a dummy, that permission was quickly withdrawn. But Franz, driven by his vision, decided to go ahead anyway. Before anyone could stop him, he leaped from the platform. The parachute failed to open properly, and Franz plummeted 187 feet to his death. A truly heartbreaking end for someone trying to save lives. Next, let's talk about Jim Fixx. Now, Jim didn't invent running itself, but he certainly put jogging on the map. His best-selling book, The Complete Book of Running, hit shelves in 1977, selling over 1 million copies and sparking a global fitness craze. Jim became a household name, synonymous with health and endurance. Tragically, Jim Fixx wasn't able to enjoy his fame for long. On July 20th, 1984, at the age of just 52, he went out for a jog and suffered a fatal heart attack. While he brought so much awareness to the benefits of exercise, his sudden passing became a stark reminder that even the healthiest habits can always outrun underlying conditions. It's a sad irony for a man who inspired millions to get active. Our third story features Karel Susek, a daring professional stuntman from Czechoslovakia. Karel designed a 9-foot-tall bright red barrel, and in 1984, he used it to plunge over Niagara Falls. The 1,000-foot drop was a roaring success, bringing him fame and enough money to open his own museum at the falls. But the allure of even greater spectacle was strong. A company sponsored another drop, this time into a water tank from the roof of the Houston Astrodome. Despite warnings, even from legendary stuntman Evel Knievel, Karel went ahead. He dropped from the roof, but instead of landing safely in the water, his barrel struck the side of the tank. Karel was gravely injured and tragically died shortly after being pulled from his invention right in front of a horrified audience. A true showman who pushed the limits one last time. Moving on, we come to Thomas Andrews. While he didn't invent the ship, he was the brilliant naval architect behind one of history's most iconic vessels, the Titanic. In 1907, Andrews began work on 3 new ocean liners, the Britannic, the Olympic, and the Titanic, designed to be the largest and most luxurious ever built. He was meticulous, but unfortunately some of his safety recommendations, like the height of watertight bulkheads and the number of lifeboats, were overruled. Thomas made the fateful decision to travel on the Titanic's maiden voyage. When the ship struck an iceberg on April 15, 1912, he went down with his magnificent creation along with over 1,500 other souls. His dedication to his work, even in its tragic failure, is a poignant part of the Titanic's story. Next up, we have Henry Smolinski, an aeronautical engineering graduate with an audacious dream, a flying car. In the early 1970s, he co-founded Advanced Vehicle Engineers and, with fellow graduate Harold Bulk, set out to make this dream a reality. Their prototypes were unique. They essentially consisted of a Ford Pinto welded to the airframe of a Cessna Skymaster plane. During a test flight in 1973, with Henry at the controls and Harold in the passenger seat, a critical flaw emerged: bad welding. The Cessna separated from the Pinto mid-flight, causing the contraption to plummet to the ground. Both men were killed instantly. A bold vision, but a stark reminder of the complexities and dangers of pioneering new forms of transportation. Our sixth inventor is Dr. Sabin Arnold von Saucony. In the early 20th century, there was a brief but incredibly dangerous craze for radioactive substances in everyday items. In 1915, Dr. Saucony formed the Radium Luminous Materials Co., where teenage girls were employed to paint watch dials with radium-laced paint to make them glow. To get a fine point on their brushes, the girls would tragically lick the tips, ingesting small amounts of the deadly substance with each stroke. Within 5 years, many developed severe bone injuries, and by 1924, 9 of them had died. Dr. Saucony himself fared no better. He passed away in 1928 at just 45 years old from aplastic anemia, a direct result of his prolonged exposure to radiation. His story is a chilling reminder of the unforeseen dangers of new technologies, especially when their effects are not fully understood. Then there's Thomas Midgley Jr., a figure controversially described by an environmental historian as having more adverse impact on the atmosphere than any other single organism in Earth's history. He played a major role in developing leaded petrol and chlorofluorocarbons, inventions that had massive long-term environmental consequences. However, it wasn't these inventions that directly led to his demise. In 1940, at 51, Thomas contracted polio, leaving him severely disabled. To regain independence, he invented an elaborate system of ropes and pulleys to help him get out of bed unaided. But on November 2, 1944, he was found dead, entangled in his own intricate device, having died by strangulation. The official verdict was accidental, though his family privately suspected suicide. A complex life, tragically ended by a contraption designed for freedom. Finally, let's look at Cowper Phipps Coles, a captain in the Royal Navy and an innovative inventor. During the Crimean War, he invented a revolutionary revolving gun turret, a design that would eventually become standard on warships worldwide. This allowed for much larger arcs of fire, unimpeded by sails and masts. In 1866, the Royal Navy commissioned the HMS Captain, an experimental warship designed by Coles himself. Launched 3 years later, Coles, unfortunately, hadn't been present for much of its construction due to illness. As a result, the iron-hulled steamship was overweight and dangerously unstable. Shortly after midnight on September 7, 1870, the HMS Captain capsized in a storm, taking with it 472 lives, including its designer, Cowper Phipps Coles, who went down with his creation at 51. A brilliant design concept, undone by a flawed execution. These stories are powerful reminders of the human drive to innovate, to push boundaries, and sometimes the profound sacrifices made in that pursuit. Each inventor, in their own way, sought to create something new, to improve, to dare. While their ends were tragic, their legacies, for better or worse, continue to shape our world and our understanding of invention. Thank you so much for watching today. If you found these stories as captivating as I did, please hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating dives into history and human ingenuity. Your support truly helps this channel grow. Until next time, stay curious.